have the presentation by two speakers, and actually we were supposed to have like a 4 to 5 minute break, but we're actually right on time to start our next presentation. And it's going to be two speakers. It's the sort of the collaboration between the two of our schools, which is the Sallay Dialogue and the Sallay Academy, and the two departments, because we have a STEM department and we have humanities and social science studies department. So both of our speakers are going to discuss or sort of have a back and forth on how we can incorporate different types of learning into this different context. So how we can combine online and offline learning experience to explore the ways how curriculums can be rearranged and to fit the learning goals that you set in your teaching. Nika Oksenchuk is the head of STEM department at Sallay Academy, and she has background in chemistry research and education methodology development, and she has a skill of setting up virtual labs, which allow to teach chemistry and sciences in a blended learning setting. And Matvey is a social studies teacher at Sallay Dialogue, and he has a background in history and teaching historical research. He also taught Latin and music. So he has like a set of multiple skills. So I will just give you an opportunity to share your presentations and unmute yourselves. Matvey. I don't know which one of you is sharing. Yes, you are starting. Okay, great. So I'll just give you the co-host rights. And yes, you can start. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Matvey. Sorry, if you could just speak up a bit.
Okay. Hope that's better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello to everyone. Very glad to be here. I wanted to note before we start that the presentation that we're going to give is more of a dialogue between me and Nika and everyone else who wants to take part in it, and it's more of how in our experience, like by trial and error, we came to some preliminary conclusions on which themes in the curriculum are better suited for different aspects of blended learning. And yes, with that introduction, I think we can start.
Sure. So we're going to talk about STEM and Humanities curricular. How do we rearrange this curricular in our blended learning model? Because in our schools, in the academy, in Dialogue, we have on-site sessions and we also have online sessions. And when we were creating our curriculum for STEM and curriculum for humanities, we faced the problem that some topics may suit better for the on-site periods, and they may need the interaction, in-person interaction between students and teacher. And some topics, can suit better for online studies, and we can use some tools which will help to develop skills without in-person sessions. So let's maybe show the topics we're talking about and our curriculum, part of our curriculum.
Yeah, so for example, how like the first year of studying social sciences, which are mostly history, and the first year of our program, how does it looks like in terms of study hours? We have 4 on-site sessions, and we only have 8 hours for each of them. And then we have all the space between them, which is mostly online. And so the first instinct would be to get the students most interested while you have time, while you have these 8 hours with them, to get them interested in history and show them all the cool stuff and all the like all the things that make history and you know, and save the offline for boring stuff like numbers and dates and so on and so on. But you kind of can't do it because it's history and you have to move chronologically most of the time. And yeah, so the approach that I chose was to more or less make the on-site sessions like a drop of water. Sorry, like it's so. For example, I have a module on ancient Greece, and I can't really do all the ancient Greece in 8 hours. So to get to choose what part of ancient Greece I could swap with which part of anything else to make it an interesting on-site experience, I tried to make a sort of a scheme to maybe first start with common principles, or first start with concrete examples and decide after that what will be more suitable for on-site or online. So, for example, if it's ancient Greece, and it so happens that our on-site sessions in Sallay Dialogue are happening in Turkey, then of course I can show them all the ancient Greek cities in Turkey and make a lot of educational trips and maybe teach them about the workings of ancient Greek polis system and something like that. And all of this is more or less common principles of ancient Greek culture. But on the other hand, and so the concrete examples, the dates, the history, the Peloponnesian War, and all that goes to online because who needs it? And on the other hand, when we come to the feudal society, Turkey does not give many you know, examples of classical feudalism. It has Byzantine remains, a lot of them, but it's not what we are looking for. And so maybe the common principles of feudalism would be better explained online with virtual tools, with things like seeing virtual tours of different European castles. There are some great ones there, and so on and so on. And I can take one concrete example of feudal society like Kievan Rus, and try to make it the most of it in the 8 hours that I'm given during on-site sessions. So that is my process. What is yours?
Well, I mean that this process is quite similar to what do we do in STEM. Could you please show the next slide? This is a mind map for STEM curriculum, for science curriculum year 2. It doesn't include math topics. Here you can see topics for life science and earth and space sciences started in academy during the second year. And when you see these topics, when I look at these topics, I think about that, well, I definitely need in-person contact with students when I study some of these topics. And I think about how can I rearrange curriculum. It should not be solid, it should not be constant. It should be, let's say, like a dough. You can change this curriculum, and this is the aim of our schools. Jan Rao, who develops science curriculum, created the curriculum which can be changed due to our needs. And in the next slide, you can see how I rearrange the topics. The next one, sorry. How I rearrange the topics. This is the diagram for the sessions in academy. They are longer. Usually they are 3 weeks in France. Dialogue School has 2-week sessions. So we have like more interaction. We have 12 hours of science during these 3 weeks. And our year starts with the in-person session. That's super important to motivate the students, to cooperate with them, and to learn more about students, to learn more about each other. So our year starts with 12 hours in person. Then we have online session. Then we have on-site sessions in December, March, and May. And here you can see the list of topics. If they are labeled with dark blue color, these topics, I think they better suit for teaching and studying on site. Like maps, it's a great opportunity to walk around, to have a field trip, and to use maps not online, not in Google, but to create maps and to study maps in France. And in the same time, we talk about ecosystems and biomes, and you can learn more about their ecosystem and biome in Burgundy, for example. And some topics can be like, as I see this, can be started online. And does this mean that online is less fun? I think no, and to make online as fun as on-site, we can use various tools for these two types of their sessions. So when we are on-site, we have experiments. Humanities also can do their experiments, and researchers. We can use discussions and debates. We use field trips a lot. And in field trips, we have an opportunity to cooperate. This can be a field trip not only for science studies, but also a mixture of humanities and science studies, when we go and we check some gardens or maybe some biomes, and we learn more about the history of this particular place. And online sessions, they are like longer than in-person sessions. That means that we should also use them effectively. And we have plenty of tools for online learning. Like we can use virtual labs and simulations. Also, kids can do home-based experiments, if we're talking about ecosystems, but one of the students can't come to their in-person session, we can try to create an ecosystem in the bottle. And that's what we did during the pandemics. Students were creating these ecosystems in the bottle, and that was really, really fun. They also created a kind of YouTube channel where they were streaming these ecosystems in the bottles with their snails. So that was a great investigation. Also quizzes, games, mind maps, tables, and graphs. And talking about online tools and online sessions, it's a great opportunity for students to learn how to work individually, to learn how to work with all these tools, because usually students during the first and second year are not very confident when they use, let's say, Google Docs or maybe some mind maps or electronic boards, and they learn to use these tools. So it's our aim to create the curriculum, to rearrange the topics in the way they would suit for each session, and they would be really exciting for the students. Talking about all the sessions, can we say that online or on-site is more efficient for humanities? What do you think would be?
Okay, so listening to you, I came to the opposite conclusion, that on the blended learning itself should be more efficient for STEM, because you don't have the chronology weighing down on you. You have this like beautiful graph that you can rearrange in any way you want. Is it correct? Did I understand you correctly?
Of course, we can't rearrange the topics and mix them in any way we want. We when we develop the curriculum, we discuss like the sequence of topics, and when we have, for example, 2 science teachers for life sciences and earth and space sciences, we think about a kind of logic for the topics for each year. But if we need to switch some topics, we can find a decision, and we can create, like if we have a topic that should be studied in online, we can create some tools, and we can use some tools which will let us to put the topics in the order we want. I guess there is an example. The next slide contains the example. And next slide, sorry. And next slide. This one, for a particular topic. Let's say we're studying animal adaptations. Of course, you would say, oh, it's a great opportunity to study animal adaptations in person. If we want to study animal adaptations on site, we can do a lot of stuff. We can have a fish dissection lab. We can do different researches and experiments, and we can investigate the structure of some bugs or feathers, or we can look at the organisms that we have around in the territory for the on-site session. However, if this topic goes in a particular sequence and in a particular logics, it stands and it will happen in the online session. It doesn't mean that it will be less fun to study this topic. We just should think about another tools. We should think about another way to teach this topic. Like we can investigate different adaptations in animals, and we can give, let's say, presentations and researchers with the use of internet for students. Students can prepare these presentations, can compare various adaptations, and can try to find some common principles of these adaptations. And I think such investigations may be very interesting, even if the students stay at home online. It's we can say that it's less fun, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So on the topic of fun, yes, I deliberately I deliberately formulated my starting thesis with the question of what's more fun. What's more fun in history? Do we want to teach the Bronze Age, or the Mesopotamia, the Egypt, or do we think that ancient Greece is a little more interesting, and so that's why we move it to the on-site module? I think that there is some truth to that. Of course, the on-site sessions are more fun. And of course, one of the goals is to motivate the students so that they can, live through, like pull through the next 2 months without losing their drive as much as they could. Yes, but there is also it's kind of repeating some of your points. Yes, the online is a great opportunity for them to start working individually, and I think the online is in some respects better than on-site for more serious work, precisely because it's less fun. We try to put everything. We tried maybe for the first year. We don't now, but the first year that Sallay Dialogue worked, we tried to put all the interesting things into on-site, and it didn't work because students have a lot to do on-site. They want to socialize with each other. Yes, of course, it's a great idea for collaborative work, for group projects, and so on, but it's not enough for any long-term projects. It's not enough for any individual work. And online is infinitely better in this regard because they just have more time to themselves, and they have time to get serious and start working, and they are not distracted by any of their classmates and any of the socializing tasks that stand before them during the on-site sessions.
Well, that's a great idea. Talking about online and on-site, of course, we should understand that these two types of sessions have some benefits and drawbacks, and they have, I guess we have such slide, yeah, for the two sessions. And if we mix them and we use both on-site sessions and online sessions, we can, by rearranging our curricular, we can try to take pros of on-site and pros of online. And of course, when students study online, this may be tough for students of the first years when they are 11 years old, 12 years old. However, that's super important. I agree with Matvey. That's super important for independent work, for some long-term researchers, and students and their parents help us to set this environment at their homes, which will help them to learn science, to learn humanities in a very effective way. And like this cons for on-site, like less digital learning tools, or students distracting by collaboration, and less fun and interactivity for online. These cons can be, I guess, can be excluded by the pros of each session if we rearrange our curricular and if we cooperate together. Talking about cooperation, we also cooperate between STEM and humanities. We cooperate together during on-site sessions, and we can also do this online. We have co-teaching classes, and that's a great opportunity on site, for example, to show that different fields of science, different fields of knowledge actually will help you to create the full image of everything around you. And we create co-teaching classes where we can discuss, let's say, some deadly diseases with me and Matvey, with me and history teachers from the academy, and we can talk about cholera or Black Death or Corona from the point of history, social studies, medicine, science, maybe from the point of literature, if we talk about Black Death in literature. And this helps the students to connect all the knowledge they have from different fields and to use it together. So I guess it's a great opportunity to mix and use different tools at the same time during the on-site sessions and during the online sessions.
Okay, so I have a kind of provocative final question.
Please.
Did we just came to the conclusion that you know, it's not an issue, that actually what we're talking about is not an issue at all, and that if we can you know, make every topic as good and as effective online as we can do it on site, and if we can you know, does this presentation have any purpose besides talking about how hard we have it in the blended learning community?
Well, I guess there is some difference when we choose a topic and we think about teaching it on site or online. Of course, there are topics in science which you can study on site, and it would be better when you can study neutralization on site. You can give the opportunity for the students to work with the instruments, to work with the tools, to work in a lab. And I would prefer for such topics to use on-site sessions. Of course, if we have no choice and we can study these topics online, we would do our best to, and we will use all the online tools we have to make this topic really interesting and to explain how it works to the students and to help them to investigate this material. However, I would say for science, it's super important to have on-site sessions. It would be super difficult to study science for the whole year online without any researchers, without any experiments, without working with laboratory instruments. So I would say that on-site sessions are super important for science studies. What about humanities? What do you think? Is there any difference between on-site and online, or you could do everything online without on-site sessions?
No, I probably couldn't do everything online. Well, I never tried, but yes, probably. Well, we don't have as much experiments, yes, and returning to the question that was asked for Inna for the previous presentation. Yes, even research projects in blended learning look like go on the internet and find something for your research. So yes, it's probably not such a big problem for us in that regard. But of course, the skills, mostly the soft skills and other interdisciplinary skills, when it's not important whether for STEM or humanities, any kind of group work, any kind of co-teaching, any kind of communication, creativity, and other C's are more effective to try during on-site sessions. Maybe they're not ineffective when you try them online, but on-site it's just because you have more of a close connection with the students, you can well, you can try and ask them to do something new and maybe a little harder for them than you can do online.
Yeah, I guess communication is still very important for the students of their age, and it may be much harder for students to study online for the whole year than for us. Of course, we can suggest various tools for in-person sessions, for online sessions, and we can try to do our best. We can rearrange the curriculum, but we should remember that on-site is super important for the development of each student. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see that boring is good. I agree with this fact that sometimes learning can be boring, and students should know this, and they should continue to work hard and to do their best. So that's good. We also try to teach them that boring is not so bad. Okay, I think that's it. Are we ready to discuss maybe some questions with?
Yeah, we're of course
everyone?
ready to take any and every question from the audience.
Yeah. So
I'll leave this slide because it has like lots of information on it.
Yeah, maybe in follow-up to what was asked for the previous session. About research and the autonomy we should or shouldn't give to the students who are minors or who are younger. So how much is there, first of all, how much of an overlap should there be or is there between them researching something online and on site on their own? Is it possible for them to do it? And in terms of virtual experiments, do you give them like pointers what to do? Do they come up with their own ideas and how to make them safe? Do you involve parents, or how does that work in terms of purely online?
In terms of online, when students use virtual experiments, I usually give them a particular lab or particular experiment with the instructions. They can do such experiments during class, and then I just give them instructions in the beginning of the class. This can be a part of their homework or independent work, but they always have a chance to ask me, to text me if they have any questions or difficulties. Virtual labs and simulations are completely safe because they do them in their laptops. And talking about some small experiments or researchers or home-based experiments that they can do, usually they are quite safe, and they involve, like, for these experiments, students need stuff that they can find at their kitchens. I don't mean knives, I mean maybe soda and vinegar. And if they are not confident, they can always ask their parents to participate, or maybe to help to take a video of the experiment. But usually these experiments are super safe, like literally they are trying to grow a plant, they're trying to grow an ecosystem, and they use substances and different compounds that they can find at home. So nothing illegal. But it's important for parents to create them place where they can study, and if a student is particularly interested in some researches and experiments, to find a place for these experiments and to find a time and to cooperate. So if students need something for the experiments, we usually send the list of supplies, the list of instruments before the beginning of the year, before the beginning of the online session, and we discuss this with parents if they can find this list of the instruments for their independent researchers online. So that's how it works.
Yes.
Speaking for myself and speaking on the other part of your question about of Hannah's question about what is suitable for minors and how we can assure the safety while they try to make their own research online. Firstly, I want to say that I have yet not managed to make any sort, not to make, but to let students make any sort of serious historical research or social sciences research online. I think in middle school it's probably best to start from grade 8 or grade 9, and because our school has only been working for 3 years, I still have no students for these grades. I will have next year. But also, in my experience, when you do historical research online, you mostly just try to find books online. And I don't really think that it's that different from going to a library. And yes, I don't think there is much of a problem to let a person who already uses internet for most of their life to use internet for historical research. I don't think it's so dangerous.
What about field work? I think that there was Hannah clarified that she also meant like in physical space, in physical sites and spaces. When you teach online, does it imply or does it include them, like it obviously in Nika's case it does, that they actually go outside and they do something on their own and then they come back with the results. But in historical terms, that usually doesn't happen, right, Matvey? It only happens on site.
Yes, well, we have field trips to, as I already explained, to various ancient cities, but we don't do actual archaeology there. So the students are mostly supervised, and well, not mostly, they are supervised. And yes, I can think of of the dangers like falling from the wall or such things, but I don't think it's really very great danger. They don't the middle school children are not as self sorry, the English words elude me. So yes, basically they are supervised, and they don't do any serious research in those ruins and on those sites. All our humanities research is, when it is done mostly through written sources, through books, and so on and so on.
And if they have a chance to do a kind of field work or in some space when they are online, and they can't they can't go there with a teacher, and for us to be sure that students are safe, they usually do this with their parents if they have a chance to go to some particular place during an online session and to investigate something for humanities or for STEM classes. Then they, of course, they should go there with their parents and to do this research in some, let's say, in a public place, or maybe in the kind of park or in a kind of natural environment. Of course, they won't go there alone, I guess. But we should give them clear instructions. How should they do this? When? With whom? Is it safe? What should be the precautions? And what instruments should they use? So that's what they learned during the first 2 years of science. How to do research, how to make your research and experiments safe, how to plan it, how to set the goals, and how to choose the instruments. So it's a really important part of any studies, any science studies, I guess. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Do we have more questions from the participants? You can also unmute yourself if you'd like, or you can drop the question in the chat. Okay, yeah, we have a message, I believe. Do we? Oh, we have a thank you from Hannah. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. And we will also include this presentation into the pack we're going to be sending out to those who couldn't be here with us in person. So if you have any questions about this presentation, you can also email us later, and I'm sure Nika and Matvey would be happy to answer the questions you might have. Yes.
We have a last question from Evelyn.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, thank you, Evelyn. Yes, go.
What role can parents play in decreasing distract during online? That's a great question, I guess. Yeah, I believe that parents can be super helpful, especially if students study with us during the first year. Due to the age, if they are, let's say, 10-year-old, this can be really difficult for them to spend the whole class working online. Parents can help them to set their environment and the background, let's say, to set everything in their rooms to be less distractive for the students. Of course, the first time students start to study online, they want to go somewhere and to search something, maybe in YouTube or in the internet. But with the help of the parents and with the help of our communication during the online class, with the communication with other students, students of the first year slowly learn to be involved in class, to be present, to participate in class, not just to stay in the camera and to scroll through, let's say, some news or maybe YouTube. And of course, when we have such problems and difficulties, we ask the parents of the students to cooperate, and we think about the ways to decrease this distracts during the online sessions. What about history classes, Matvey?
I guess the same, but I think it also depends on a particular teaching style that you have. So yes, of course, there are problems that can't be solved by only teacher from the other side of the screen. And yes, parents are super helpful usually in solving them, but I wouldn't say that it's you know, that it's like a plague, that these problems are numerous in any kind of numerous. I think it's 1 or 2 or 3 students maybe each year out of 40 or 50. Just in my experience.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. We are waiting for your questions. If you have any comments, just contact us. And thank you for this chance to discuss our curricular and to cooperate with it's a great chance to cooperate for STEM and Hum departments.
Yes, thank you.